Paramount Pictures is currently filming a major motion picture in North Georgia called
Very interesting things which you'll see once you check out that movie.
We generally work on a few different types of projects. Obviously, we do a lot of short films.
Michael, how did you get started in filmmaking?
A very large part of the success of any project.
And I started my filmmaking career actually on a cruise ship making short films.
Wow. I'm the executive producer to our new feature film, The Common Denominator.
Tell us a little bit about your character in the film.
She's really upset from the beginning, from the get-go.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, basically, I somehow started acting in 1992.
We are here with filmmaker Tracy Martin at Sketchworks Theater, who is the co-founder of the Women's Angle Film Project. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, good.
Great.
Tell our audience about your background.
Well, I am a filmmaker also.
Okay.
I do this outside of the Women's Angle Film Project. I started acting first many years ago, but I was still older than what is most appreciated. Shall I say that?
Appreciate it.
So I can honestly say my career I did not transfer from actress to film because, well, I just had no other choice. Well, what happened was I just wasn't very busy. There weren't a lot of roles offered for a woman my age, so I was available.
Gotcha.
And Mike, the co-founder of the Women's Angle Film Project, Brett Wood, approached me a few years back and said, why don't you help me produce my feature film? We had done a couple shorts, and it's Psychopathia Sexualis. So I produced that for him, and then what happened, I really got too busy to go back in front of the camera.
Gotcha.
And then I realized, you know what, I really like it back here.
Better than in front?
Yes,
Wow.
I love it behind the camera. It's a much more creative experience than I would have ever imagined.
Wow, wow. Tell us more about the Women's Angle Film Project. All about it.
Okay. I've been involved with the Dailies Film Project that's housed out at Push Push Theater for a number of years, and which I can honestly say has groomed a lot of some of the top filmmakers in Atlanta. And I started out acting there, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, I really want to make films, and I didn't feel like I was really being heard, but you know, I'm sure that was self-imposed. Because I think it's natural to limit oneself when you're not really sure about what you're doing or what you want. But I felt like a lot of women would like to direct, but maybe they feel perhaps a little alien to walking into a group of filmmakers that know what they're doing. And I think, I've said this to Mark, I've said this I don't know how many times, birds of a feather flock together. Right. I truly believe that. And because of that, there's probably subtle discrimination going on.
Just a little.
Just a little. So I thought, and I really don't like singling out minorities or majority or anything like that. But I could tell that, I just got this feeling that if I could get a project together that would encourage women to get behind the camera. As much as I had a difficulty saying women director only, I thought it might take off. I thought we might have a chance. And I pitched it to Brett Wood, my co-partner, co-producer in the Women's Angle, and he loved it. And he said, you know, I totally stand beside you and I fully support you. I think it's a good opportunity for you and for women. So we pitched it. It didn't take off quite like I wanted. I think there's a lot of professional filmmakers, women filmmakers in Atlanta, directors and producers, that are far busy to actually take time out to have fun like this and make just a small little short. Right. But it's picking up momentum. We got some newbies in here.
Okay.
There's
Who are some of your directors?
Okay, we have Chandra McDonald Bradford,
recently
married. She's a producer of The Last Adam and has directed or produced numerous films. We have 3 or 4, let me see, there's Kara Price, Christy Israel, Angela Harvey, and Kimberly Jurgen.
Okay. Any first-timers?
Those 4.
Those 4 are
first-timers. They're newbies. Wow. So there are 4 of us, myself, Chandra McDonald, and Deirdre Walsh, who's done documentaries, but, and let me see, who is the other one? I'm bad for forgetting this now. It's hard. I had it in alphabetical order, but there's 4 that are brand new.
Okay, all right. We're going to take a look at some of the clips of the short film.
Mr. Sanders, I must confess to some minor confusion on my part. Did you perhaps take us for inexpensive dates?
We're not cheap.
That's right, we're upscale. Decidedly upscale.
I'm not cheap, you son of a bitch.
You just keep it up. I'm gonna hurt you like you can't imagine.
Wrong.
Not if you can't pay the price.
All right, I've got it. I'll pay it. I've got it.
The full 1,000.
Yes. Yes. Only after. You can have it after.
Are you serious?
Honey, I love you, but business is business, and this is our business.
This isn't charging for me to make out with boys behind the movie theater. This isn't even selling me for sex. This is some other kind. And you don't even know if he really has the money.
But what if he does have it? It'll only hurt a little, and we can both take some time off with that much.
Only hurt a little?
Oh, it's gonna hurt more than a little.
You are not helping. I won't do it.
Well, you've done everything else.
Sex stuff, not this. And only because you said it's the only thing we can do, or else...
Haven't I taken care of you?
But I'm always the one who has to do the things. You do it. Why me? Why not you?
That is ridiculous. Why would it be me?
What was up with that bedtime prayer?
I know how you feel about the whole God thing. I just think it's important for her to grow up acknowledging something greater than herself. To have faith.
You know what? I'll accept the prayer. But this whole if I die thing, what the hell is that?
It's just a child's prayer, Nathan. It's the same one I used to say every night.
It's morbid, and I don't want my child dwelling on her own mortality like that.
You're overreacting.
Carly, dear, I'm a psychiatrist. I don't overreact.
Okay, you want her to say something else, then you come up with something for her to say.
I'm a therapist, not a preacher.
It's not that hard, Nathan. Just pretend there's a God and you have a private audience. What would you say? What would you ask for? And make it simple. She's 6.
All right, I will come up with something. But not tonight, because I'm exhausted.
It's gonna be fun. You, me, Eleanor, your parents, and David.
Hey, baby doll. I'm not family yet, but I could be. I bet your mom sure would love that. Oh, and Eleanor too. Baby, I can't wait to be a part of your family. Ow!
Now, Tracy, will this be an annual event?
Yes, indeed. I got to admit, though, about a week ago, I said, oh, no, I'm never doing this again because it's a lot of work. But I really do think that we're going to do it again. I'm going to be speaking with Image Film and Video. They're interested in a fiscal sponsorship for us. I certainly need to research that first.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely think it should be an annual event.
Okay.
And I'm just getting excited. More and more women are saying, hey, I want to get involved. So
good.
Fingers crossed.
Good. What were some of the disadvantages? Not even disadvantages. What were some of the things that you dealt with in putting together an event?
Like obstacles?
That word, yeah, obstacles. I was looking for that word. Yeah.
Time and money. And they go hand in hand. There's so many people. Somebody was telling me today, you can throw money all you want at filmmakers. If they're not any good, they're not going to make them good. And that's not really what I'm saying, money. If I had money, I could afford not to work and devote more time to this.
Yes.
I mean, this was certainly, I didn't get any kind of monetary reimbursement for this. Both Brett and I volunteered our times.
Wow.
And none of the filmmakers were paid to make their films. We spent money out of our own pockets.
Just the love of the craft.
It's a passion.
Yeah.
And eventually that runs its course. So I'm really hoping to get some fiscal sponsorship and perhaps get some grant money.
Okay. All right. What other projects will you be working on, or the other filmmakers that you have on your project?
Well, each one of them is at a different. They're all at a different level in their career. Some are going to be producing a feature film. Some are definitely. Nobody has said they don't want to direct again. Nobody has said I'll never direct again. I'm producing a PSA that will be shot next month. I'm researching a feature documentary on mental health. That may be something I might pursue. I want to myself at least direct 2 more shorts before I take on a feature film. That's just a personal goal for myself. And so everybody has different goals, but again, nobody said they don't ever want to do it again.
Good, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I'm still looking forward for everything to get started. I can't wait to see what you guys have.
Well, thank you, and we're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For blessing our audience.
Okay, my name is Christy Israel, and I wrote and directed Changing Baby.
My name is April Speaks, and I did Defining Moments. I wrote, produced, directed, edited.
I'm Kimberly Yergin, and I wrote, directed, and many things for Fortune School, the one with the fortune cookies. I'm Tracy Martin, and I directed Sucker Punch.
And I directed Voices.
I'm Angela Harvey. I wrote and directed Sleep, Keep, Wake.
I'm Deirdre Walsh. I directed Insanity du Jour and Nancy Night was this week.
Chandra McDonald Bradford. I wrote, produced, and directed The Promise.
So my question is, obviously we get to see what you bring to the story and the project visually and the writing, but I'm curious, I'm assuming most of you have worked for men in this industry, and I'm curious what you think you brought to the actual process of creating these projects as women. Is there anything, any unique sensibility that as women you bring to the development process and the production itself?
That's a really good question. You first.
I'll go. Because I had a female cinematographer, a female editor, producer, director. We were all women, and I think it just, the set was wonderful, and there was just a level of just sensitivity around the whole topic, and just the way that from the execution of the Eternal going out forward in terms of really bringing to life those emotions. Melissa McBride's a fabulous actor. You could stay on her for hours. And my editor just really knew how to let it breathe. And you shoot it to let it breathe. And I think it just felt special. It just felt different having that influence.
For me, I think, in some sense, I'm not sure if it's because of me personally or because I'm a woman, but I'm a very collaborative artist, and I started off from day one with actually a different actress who we were thinking she might play the part, and we started writing together, and then we brought in Nancy Night, and then that first actress left, and I got the wonderful Sherry Mann and then Althea Dixon was my DP, but at every step of the way, I was very aware that I was creating a team, and I wanted everybody's input. And Althea and I had a lot of fun, which is really why we needed a strong AD, to kind of keep us to the schedule. But I just really, I felt I got a lot of cooperation, a lot of input when things didn't work. Like say from an acting point of view, we changed the script, but so it was kind of like guiding and holding and taking in input, but knowing where I was going. And then, I just felt like an amazing production, amazing team. Couldn't want any more. So I don't know if it's because it's me or because I'm a woman or because it's such a fantastic.
I think that by nature, what Deirdre was saying, women I think are a little more collaborative, a little more open to input from others. That is a strength, and it can also be a weakness. And I had to. The lesson I learned was to trust my instincts, not to underestimate my instincts, because when you're around creative temperaments, artistic temperaments, there's a lot of strong opinions and there's a lot of strong personalities. And you have to know when to bend and cooperate and when to stay true to the original vision. And I think maybe sometimes it's a little bit more of a challenge for women because we like to keep the peace, we like to keep the relationship, but sometimes we have to step up and just make sure. Make sure that, yeah, you're the director. I
don't have that problem. I like to boss people around. I knew what I said. I can't really say. It's really important for me to just have my own individual, like what I thought everything would be. I did collaborate and I did listen to a lot of people as far as composition and everything, but it was really important visual aspects. So I don't know if it's really from a woman's perspective. I think voices, you could flip it from a woman or a man, and that was important to me, not to be like uber feminist about it. It's just every day, just can go with any person in that age of life, things that society and everything you hear around you and what's expected of you. So it's really more of an individual thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't feel like I lean one way or the other as to whether I want to work with men or women. I just want to work with the best person I can get. And I hope that we get along. That's the really good thing about doing shorts, is because you get to know people, how they work, and then you know if you want to work with, if you're going to be doing a feature, it's like, not that one, not that one. And it can be just a personality thing. It can go either way. The one thing I have heard that women tend to be more collaborative, and that's a great thing. That can be a weakness too, because I don't want to doubt myself. And I think I hate to use the word journey, but I think my journey in life though is to really be able to be decisive myself. I need to be able to make decisions because I think I've had this conversation with a few people. I think one reason, gosh, you guys might call me out on this one. I think, this is just my opinion, and it may not be well thought out, but I've decided. I think the reason there are fewer women directing is because we just easily fall into a support role. And we tend to do it with grace. Well, that's okay. I'll do that. I'll support. And I mean, I don't want to lose that supportive thread, that part of me, because I really do like to support people, especially if I really like what they're doing. But I think that's why more of us aren't directing. We just have a tendency to just go, I'll help you make your film, I help you make your film, and how many of us really want to, and then we doubt. And that's a good point. We don't want to appear bitchy, but God, if you've ever been a mom, we step right into that role really well. So, and to say that women aren't controlling, that's, you can't say that. To say men are controlling, that's not fair either. The one thing I have noticed, and I am digressing, I've heard a lot of this. I've actually heard a woman say to me, a woman filmmaker, after working on a set that was made up of a majority of women film crew, and apparently there was some, a little bit of disagreements and all. And she actually said to me, I'll never work with women again. And that just bugs me, because it's like, how many male directors have we all heard about? We read it in the headlines about this director who's a control freak and he does this, and I hear in the film community how that guy is difficult to work with, and I never hear men say, I'll never work with men again. Right? So we can be our own enemy, but anyway, that's all. And I was saying, I guess I left it kind of flat, didn't I?
That's like, I'm glad I recharge after that one.
Sorry about that.
We'll collaborate on it.
I have to agree on that. For me, it's the same thing. It's a double-edged. Because I've worked with some incredibly strong male directors, only one female director that I've ever worked with, and I enjoyed working with her so much that she was my DP on this project. Her name's Kelly Wright. She's here. But typically I'm working with male directors who may, in the independent world, they're wearing other hats as well. And some of them have been strong collaborators, but the majority, it's not that I think they don't want to give up control to other people, but they know how they want it, and so they're very confident that they can do it, and so there's a lot of micromanaging, and so if they're going to give you a task every 5 minutes, they want you to check in and let them know how it's going. And I don't tend to work that way. If I give somebody a job to do, I'm just going to trust them to do it, and then if the time comes and it's not done, well, okay, then I'll deal with it and we'll make it happen. And so I think that is a strong suit. That I don't know if that's something, as a woman, I happen to be a woman and have that, I don't know. But it's great because it gives other people the chance to have their artistic voice very clearly heard in a project. But it also means if I've chosen someone who perhaps wasn't up to the task and I trusted them too much, then other people, including myself, have to kind of pick up the slack and solve the crisis when it becomes a crisis. So I think it's kind of that same double-edged. It can be a strength, but it can also be a weakness. Again, I don't know if that addresses the question at all. But when I went into the project, I didn't really think about how am I going to make this a woman's angle. For me, it was because, well, I don't think that men go into it saying, how am I going to tell the man's story? How am I going to, what's the man's angle on telling this? I wanted to tell a story that interested me, that was a story that I would be interested in knowing who these people were and what happened to them. And I felt that by using the voice of a woman as a director and having many women involved in the process, especially with my DP, that it would intuitively be presented in the work without it becoming a conscious, again, like you said, like being a feminist thing, that I didn't want this to be a woman's story. That it's women telling a story. This is the story we tell.
I think for me, I would have to say, I have to agree with Chandra about there being a sensitivity, I think, just when it comes to certain topics or certain issues. I guess my case in point with my script, for example, the husband and the wife, for example, I know with when I got to rehearsals with my actors, we got to this huge, remember at our first read through, we got to this huge sort of discussion about the whole Halle Berry and, the Reverend's obsession with Halle Berry and the constant comments about Halle Berry, Halle Berry, Halle Berry. And you're just not seeing it as being, how that could potentially hurt someone who is in that position of always having to hear about your obsession with Halle Berry all the time. And so we talked about that a lot, and that was one of the things that I guess me as a director was just able to really hone in on that point and sort of try to get that point across that it can be hurtful and it can be offensive, especially if you're hearing it nonstop. And I mean that sermon that you heard from about the Halle Berry, and I'd rather live with a bald-headed, ugly woman than was an actual sermon that was actually preached. Wow. So I mean, it's things like that people just don't get it, how their words can actually hurt people. And so I think that's kind of what I brought.
Well, I've never worked for men in the world of film because I'm very new to it, and that was probably my biggest issue, is that I did have a mostly male crew who were much more experienced than I was. So basically, but we worked very well together, and I think it was just about me being serious about what I was doing. That was the biggest issue for me. they knew that I was serious about it and that I believed in what I was saying. And I did question myself sometimes and certainly listened to their input a lot. But that was the main thing, was experience, not really the male factor, but more of, working with people who are a lot more experienced than I am, so how can I lead them?
You started out with, or you ended up with 8, how many started out?
I think there were about 15 of us. And we were expecting people to drop out immediately. Not immediately, but you expected there's a dropout rate because lives get in the way of busy people. And then one of the largest obstacles actually is money. And it really is, it holds so many of us back. And it even holds, some people let it hold themselves back from getting more education. I mean, because I take a lot of workshops. To me, I don't care. I'll take a workshop if I think it's worth it. But it really holds a lot of us back. There was so many people. There was one person, she's not here, but we all talked about it. Gosh, she just wouldn't give up, would she? I would call her every month saying, I know you're not, are you ready to throw in? No, I'm going to make my short. And then she finally came to the very last meeting and said, I can't do my short. And it was like, for me, because it was like, it's so difficult. Oh, isn't it, ladies? It's just difficult to try to, But we are really, 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 really running out of time, you guys. And we have so many. Do what?
Oh, no, he was. What did y'all shoot on?
Good.
That's a good question. 24p.
Shot on a DVX.
24p.
24p DVX 102 of them. One orange, one blue.
HD JVC 100.
Panasonic 108 24p.
Canon XL.
Just one quickie. I noticed that in a lot of films, somebody was referred to as baby.
Oh, yeah, which is even more noticeable because of Changing Baby. Because I noticed that too. I was like, every time I heard baby after Changing Baby, like jumped out at me.
It was requested that everybody have that name in it.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't mention this. I think every film almost says daddy. There's daddy in every film, almost. There's something about daddy. I had somebody else bring that to my attention. A bunch of daddy films. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that baby was in my
I'm just telling you what somebody told me. I thought that was fascinating when that was brought to my attention. I had never picked up on that.
Yeah, we don't know.
The other two, what did y'all say?
Oh,
sorry, yeah, DVX 100.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you heard them.
And Avril?
Canon XL2.
But, Jonathan,
Well, just after all the discussion about money, I have to know, like, what
were your
budget? Oh, that's going to take forever.
Just real quick, kind of like what you thought your budget would be and what it was, if you're even comfortable with that.
We talked about that last night. I think nobody spent more than $3,000. How's that? Is that fair to say? None of us spent more than $3,000, and none of us spent. Maybe one or two less than 1,000. How's that?
Wow.
Wow. Well, you can only pour out your favors for so long.